Attending the rally today at the Capitol here in our beautiful state of California. I have been stalked for 15 years and still ongoing. The stalking for me began in 2004 when the house next door to me was sold. The new neighbor next door started surveillance on me immediately when he and his wife moved in. My life was diabolically changed. These new neighbors surveilled every movement I made and they wanted me to know it. When I am sleeping, eating, dressing, and bathing, I am always watched. My swimming pool is on his 60-inch TV. I am radar waved on my head while swimming. I have seen myself on his TV. These evil neighbors have convinced my neighborhood to harass and stalk me. My neighbors have stalkers accusing me of assault repeatedly. In 2017, I was accused of aggravated assault by trying to run over a child. Not true. In 2018, I was accused of a hate crime and assault. Not true. In February 2019, I was accused of disorderly conduct. Not true. In July 2019, I was accused again of aggravated assault in a grocery parking lot. Cameras proved in every instance that absolutely nothing happened. That is how far these psychopaths will go to frame people. My injuries are consistent with those of direct energy weapons. I have bioeffects of being assaulted with radar waves for 15 years. One injury I have is that of damage to the inner ear, tinnitus, and hearing loss. I require 2 hearing aids now. I have seen Dr. Hoffer in Miami. He examined the American diplomats who were hit with similar weapons. Dr. Hoffer understands what direct energy weapons can do and how they work. I want to ask you, why is it that one doctor is sworn to secrecy for fear of his license being revoked? And why is it that my next door neighbor, who is a psychopath, is a doctor who is pointing this weapon at my ears with impunity? On Friday, May 3rd, 2019, I went to the Holiday Inn Express in San Mateo. I started getting radar wave assaulted about 2 minutes after I walked into that room. I started investigating. My phone began to crackle each time I passed a certain closet door in my room. I noticed that there was a radio wave geofence around the bed. A geofence is an electrical invisible fence that alerts when there is movement crossing it, something like a dog fence on a human. That's what they do to us. We're no better than dogs. And by the way, dogs are awesome. It was vibrating on the floor, under the bed, and all over the bed. There was a door in my room that did not have a doorknob. There was at least a 1.5-inch space between the carpet and bottom of the door, like this much. I laid on the floor and I looked through that gap. I saw something that did not fit. It was this black box. That black box. And it was plugged into the wall adjacent to my room. I laid there and stared at it for a long time, at least 10 or 15 minutes while I was being hit with this pain. I got a pen and paper and I began to copy the strange emblems that I noticed on the black box. It was difficult. I also took a photograph, but it wasn't able to catch it all because it was under the door and my eye could see what my phone camera could not. So I have tried my best to preserve that for you, and so you can look at it. On May 2019, I went to another Holiday Inn Express in Burlingame. When I checked in, the geofence vibrations started again. I was radar wave attacked every 30 to 60 seconds. At 5 a.m., I noticed that the geofence vibrations were non-stop surrounding both beds in my room. I realized that the operator of this black box weapon must have fallen asleep on the job. I decided to take advantage of this psychopath's dereliction of duty. I called the desk clerk to my room After she touched my bed and felt the vibrations, she gave me a different room, one floor below. I went to room 209 and the identical assault started again. After being stalked 15 years, I started realizing that this radar wave assault was a criminal activity being perpetrated against me. On the afternoon of May 17th, 2019, I drove my car to Skyline Boulevard in Millbrae. I covered all of my car windows, all over, so nobody could see me. But I was watching. I left a couple holes so I could watch what happened outside. I started feeling an unusual type of radar wave pain on both of my legs simultaneously. This assault was different from any I had experienced before. The first thought that came to my mind was that this is a very angry and seriously experienced person on the opposite end of this weapon. I immediately moved my car behind his car. I noticed an older white male, about 50-ish, smoking a cigarette, like holding it like this, and holding his phone in the other hand. There was a Navy emblem on his car. There was a permanent handicap emblem on his rear plate. I got out of my car and walked up to him. I could see a pixelated image of what I thought was my body, just like that. I recreated that for you. It was on his phone. That image was on his phone. He was running his fingers down the legs, starting above the knees and ending at the toes. Because he was...
There you go.
Because it was unique, I want to show you how he did it. I was feeling it on both legs, and he took his hand like this. And he was stroking both of my legs. I asked the Navy man, "Why are you hurting me?" He laughed a wicked laugh. I will never forget the smell of that cigarette. It smelled like a cherry Tipperillo. I looked inside his car. There was that black box in the passenger seat. He quickly shoved the black box into a black cloth briefcase. It was plugged into his AC adapter in his car. He had a scar on his face. He had gray salt and pepper hair, mostly gray. His lower body was immobile. His legs could have been a prosthesis, 2 prostheses. The assault was an aggression transference, in my humble opinion. He hurt my legs because he didn't have any legs. Are we being assaulted because the perpetrators don't have a heart? They don't have a conscience? They don't have legs? What's wrong with these people? I quickly summed up my situation mentally. I didn't know who he was. I knew if I called the cops, it was this psychopath's word against mine. I still didn't have proof of what the black box was, except in my own mind. I didn't even know what it was called. I walked away defeated again. This is our national rally. Today we are not defeated.
Right.
We are here for this cause, and we are going to solve this.
Right.
And with stuff like this, we're going to get them.
Right.
So I need all of you to look at this and watch for this in somebody's car when they're harassing you. Let me explain. I know that this black box is called the Ravenclaw. It's manufactured by Raytheon. My neighbor played recordings of ravens when he assaulted me for 5 long years. 5 years of ravens, mimicking my every move and harassing me with a noise campaign in every part of my home, my office, and everywhere I drive. Every destination I go to has been set up to emulate a battlefield of planes, helicopters, drones, hissing and chirping sounds, ravens cawing, and a cacophony of irritational, diabolical war sounds. The noise is played in the vehicles of the stalkers who assist in this G.I. Joe, G.I. Jane game of war. Many of the stalkers use this Ravenclaw or something very similar. I see stalkers on foot with a backpack shooting radar waves at me. They walk by, and when their backpack is directly in sight, line of sight, in front of me or my vehicle, they press something on their phone, and I'm assaulted. I have documented patterns of how the weapon is used. They like to shoot the skull, the ears, the eyes, and the heart, but they will shoot any part of my body for target practice. I want to share this information with the innocent civilians in the state of California. This is a crime of repeated, aggravated assault and perversion. Using this weapon is a crime against thousands of citizens across the great state of California. Innocent people have been drafted into a real-life Kill Bill, Frame Jane, G.I. Joe, G.I. Jane game. It is a computerized war game that pairs Ravenclaw with the user's Bluetooth. I will describe the user-friendly features of Ravenclaw. There is no host, server, or network connection required. It pairs directly with their cell phones, a laptop, or any pairable device. It's wireless. It has line-of-sight propagation. Electromagnetic radiation waves travel in a direct path, straight line from the source to the receiver. Point and shoot. Notice I shot down. I'm not shooting at anybody like those perps. Surveillance listens within a geographical limit. So my opinion is they're close by. They listen because it can't listen very far. It's not like they're in Montana. They're in your neighborhood. Through the wall sensors. Sees through the walls. It sees through our clothing. Yes, it sees us naked. Biofencing alarms. It lets the operator know when the human subject's body moves, our eyes open, our mouth opens, we move our leg. It alerts the user. That's especially why when we wake up, we notice that they're right on us. It's not because they're sitting there staring at us. They have an alert. It's an alarm, like they use in war. Geofencing alarms. It lets the operator know when the human subject's body crosses specific geographical boundaries. For example, when you open your door, the alarm alerts the perpetrator. And that's why they start all the noise campaign. They start harassing you the minute you walk out the door. It's not because they're staring. They're too lazy. They have alarms. Electronic jammers. Jammers radiate interfering signals toward an enemy's radio waves, cell phones, radios. Wi-Fi, that's how they mess with our phones, our Wi-Fi, and all of our electrical devices. Electronic countermeasure, the deliberate radiation or re-radiation and alteration, suppression, absorption, denial, enhancement, or reflection of electromagnetic energy in a manner intended to convey misleading information and to deny valid information to enemy electronics. So when we go and try to use a spectrum analyzer and triangulate, the signal is destroyed. Weaponization of the electromagnetic spectrum is used as a pain weapon, specifically in human subjects, using these constants here. Okay, I want to let you know what the disadvantages are for the perpetrators, the operators. For them, this is their disadvantages. This is a crime involving moral turpitude, CIMT, by all three definitions categorically. Number one, using this weapon is shocking to the public conscience. The public cannot even imagine what we're going through. That's the test right there. Number two, using this weapon is vile and depraved. Number three, using this weapon is contrary to the rules, morality, and duties of society. Punishment will be severe, and it will be an add-on to the already existing aggravated assault and numerous other things that these perpetrators have done to our bodies and our life and our privacy, and the accusations. And I intend to see every person here who's been placed in a psych ward exonerated. That's right. If you, the operator of the Ravenclaw or a similar weapon, are convicted, you could have your green card or visa revoked. You will have your personal license revoked. Hey, educators, attorneys, and doctors, you're going to face adverse consequences. The legal definition of this crime is aggravated assault. The geographical limitations require close proximity. This makes it easy to catch the perpetrators. Once you catch on, you can figure it out. Line of sight propagation. It works best when waves travel in a direct path, straight line. This makes it easy to catch them. Addictive behavior. This is really good for you guys to learn what these guys are about. This is why it's so easy to catch them. Their mental state of mind. They are addicted. Distance. And the reason is there's a distance from human victim, desensitizing the weapons operators. Less likely to feel shock or distress or cruelty because they never see us cry. They don't see what it's doing to us. They don't see the marks and the bruises and the fear on our face. They're just sitting there in front of their computer, killing us slowly, killing me softly with his little weapon. This crime gratifies and stimulates the operator by participating in the hunt and the chase. It is a new low for man's inhumanity to man. It is a new depravity for evil psychopaths. I have studied some of Helena Sorba's information about the radar waves. She's an engineer in the state of Pennsylvania. She distributed a list of dielectric constants that could be used by this Raytheon weapon. Based on the Navy paraplegics actions, this weapon is positioned line of sight propagation adjacent to the human subject. The dielectric constant is entered, any part of the body, they store it, and that's how they can shoot us again and again and again so accurately. It's stored. The dielectric constant is entered, weapon is positioned, and game on. The closer, the better, because the pain is worse when the Ravenclaw is on top of the human subject. I want to thank everybody. I hope you will keep your eye out just notice how when you're driving or walking, the activity, and when you're hit, look around. You're going to see a particular person who's very interested in you. And they usually have something in a purse or a baby's carriage or a backpack. They hide it, but not so well. And you'll get so good at being able to direct where it's coming from. And I want to see this end, and I want to thank everybody for listening to my speech. I was very nervous about it, and I know there are different weapons. I just want to say there are different weapons out there, but I've been noticing that this weapon is the most common that I've been seeing. And you guys have other experiences, and you're very welcome. And I don't want to represent everyone. This is just what I've been experiencing. But it is accurate from my experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jack. Appreciate it. Appreciate you. Thank you.